Hey, what's up guys? So today I'm gonna be doing a video on how to do front suspension lowering and or just replacement if you want to go back to stock on a 1999 Camaro SS. This is my 99 SS. I've had it for about 4 years, put a lot of work into it and decided it's finally time to lower it. So if you look under here, I already have the driver's side almost done. I have Bilstein shocks and UMI lowering springs. It's gonna be a 1.25 inch up front, and when I do the rear, it'll be 1.5 inch drop. That way it kind of levels the car out more. So I'm gonna just go over real briefly what I did on the driver's side. It's a little bit harder than the passenger side, but you'll see the full demonstration on what I do on the passenger side. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, get the car up in the air and support it. Don't support it on the lower control arms. Support it on the actual frame itself back there. Once you have that, you can go ahead and go up here. So the reason why the driver's side is a little bit harder is because this your brake master cylinder is very much in the way, kind of that one, that T50 right there, that T50 right there, but mostly it's this one right here that is really a pain in the ass. So you can go ahead and just loosen these front two. What I did is I left them, the nuts still on, but loose, you know, kind of up here. After that, I was able to actually get this one out without having to do anything with this. But for this one, there are two bolts right there. I believe they're 15s, I want to say. Now they're on this side right here, where this master cylinder attaches to the brake booster back here. So you're gonna have to get those bolts off, or those nuts off. And then the tricky part is you have to actually use I use a little pry bar, and you get it, if I can get a good shot, in between the master cylinder itself and the brake or the brake booster, and you're gonna kind of pry it off up until it starts getting off of the stud there and off the stud over here. I've seen videos where guys move it up over this way. Fortunately, the cowl is very much in the way, so I had to kind of move it up and over out this way, and I had a friend just hold it out of place. I was able to get that off. So you have the full bolts up top, all done. After that, you want to come down here. And so right now, I have aftermarket upper control arm on, but here, I'll show you what the stock one looks like, actually. So this is what the stock upper control arm looks like. So we can just continue over here since it's all stock already. So the next thing you want to do, so you're gonna take this cotter pin out here, you're gonna undo this castle nut. And then this is where I ran into a problem and why I have aftermarket upper control arms. So this castle nut was actually stripped for me. I'd use a nut splitter on it, and then because the ball joint is riveted in, I had to buy a new upper control arm. Didn't feel like grinding that off just for a ball joint. You're gonna undo that. You can use a ball joint tool, separating tool, to actually get this ball joint loose. I didn't need to. All I did was just hit it with a hammer. You're going to give a couple good taps on either side, and it should free up. Hopefully you see that when I go ahead and do that in a little bit. From there, you're going to have two bolts down here. This one's missing because I actually lost this nut, that nut right there, on the other side. So I had to take that bolt out to go get a new nut. So you're then going to take out these two lower strut mount bolts. So what you're going to do from there, bungee cord this, have everything loose, and then this entire ball joint, A-arm, control arm, upper hat, the shock assembly and everything will actually come out. Like I said, you'll see it when I do it. All right, so now we're over on the passenger side. I'm going to start by supporting the spindle. After that, I'm gonna go up top, take those nuts out, and then we'll deal with casting on the ball joint. Here we go. So now that's gonna be supported. It's not gonna fall. You don't have to worry about brake calipers and all. So you're gonna have two 15mm bolts. You're gonna have one there, one there. This is passenger side. Driver's side, like I said, a little different, covered it earlier. So two 15s up front. I went ahead and broke these loose. I'm gonna loosen them up a little bit more, but I'm gonna leave them on the studs. And then you have two 13s. This one, relatively easy too. that one. These lines are going to be a bit in the way for this one, but you just throw a box wrench on it and it's not too bad. None of these should be super tight or anything, as long as your car isn't rusted to shit. So it shouldn't be too hard. So for this cotter pin, you're gonna need some needleless pliers. These are pretty shitty ones, but they'll work. So just bend that with your fingers, bend it straight enough. You can just go ahead and pull it through. Just like that, cotter pin right out. So next, we need to deal with this castle nut. Yeah, it's looking like a 15. I'm gonna move this bungee down a little bit so I can actually get the socket in there. Let's go ahead and loosen this. There we go. That's what you wanted to see. That's what should have happened with the other side, but unfortunately, like I said, it tripped. If you're gonna reuse this in the cotter pin, set it aside. I believe it's fine to reuse the cotter pin. You might want to go ahead and buy a new one. They're very cheap. So next, we're going to disconnect this ball joint. I did buy a ball joint separating tool if this doesn't work, but this is what most mechanics do. Take a little mini sledge, and you want to give it some taps on either side. There you go, just like that. If you are going to reuse your stock A-arm, ball joint, all that, I wouldn't recommend hitting the stud here like I did. So, we got this loose. This is almost disconnected up top. Next thing we need to do is undo the two mounts down at the bottom where the strut mounts into. Okay, so you're down, going to undo the lower shock mounts. I already did the right one here, over here. Like I said, I need to give it an extra nut, so I had to take that out. I have a 15 up top. I'm gonna put a 13 below. Got the breaker bar up top, and I'm just gonna put a box wrench on the bottom. Hoping that is a decent angle. You can kind of see what's happening. I'm just gonna break it loose.
These actually use the impact on the other side. For one of them, I had to use a little swivel joint, but over here I'm just going to use breaker bar and box wrench. It's not too bad, not a crazy amount of threads or nothing. So I'm just going to break this loose. I'll probably skip through some of this. I'm just going to keep going.
Oh yeah, the burps give you power. You know what I'm saying, son?
9 foot a smaller 15.
There we go. Motivation. Okay. Yes. Okay. Oh, ow. Fucking rocking the knee, brother. You're gonna support this spindle with your knees when you undo the bungee. So when I undid those last two bolts, the strut mount and the hat and everything up here came down. So it's fully loose. It's loose at the bottom. You're gonna want to take, I don't know how well you can see it, but you have your sway bar here, and you're going to push it down as much as you can. Get it out of the way some. And then we're going to support this with your knee, undo the bungee. Now this, she's a little heavy, so you're gonna want to support that with your knee, and then start taking this out like that, and just like that, the entire assembly will come out as one piece. Try not to put too much stress on the brake line.
Get the support back up, like that.
That's fine on the brake line. We have some slack there, as you can see. Okay, so as you can see, got a block of wood supporting it. It's going across the lower control arm right there. Just taking a little bit relief off of it. So we're gonna move to disassembling this. So this piece right here actually comes right off. A little harder to do while filming. So that now comes off right there. As you can see, nice and rusted. That's what you'll want. All right, so we need this top hat. We need the insulator here. Yeah, that's a lot of rust. Everything else on the shock is going to be replaced. So I'll show you the process of using the spring compressor to get this apart. Okay guys, so we hit a bit of a roadblock here. As you can see, what happens is because, you know, this is facing up, obviously, when it's in the car, water likes to pool here, as you can see. And when water gets stuck in between metal pieces, it rusts. And the nut on there was rusted to the point where it's supposed to be I think a 15 or a 14. Neither of those would fit, it's too big. And a 13 was too small. Hammered on the 13, as you probably saw. Didn't get that to work. And it is, if it focuses, nice and stripped. It's all sorts of fucked up. So I'm gonna pause on this right now. I have a couple other things I need to do today. We'll be back tomorrow. If you guys will just be a fucking second.
2 weeks later.
All right, so we're about to install the new shock. So first step you're gonna do is you're gonna put on your spring perch on the bottom. Just slides on down. Actually put on the actual where the spring rests, this little plastic piece. Then you want to hammer on this cup on top of the shock itself. Doesn't take much force, but you want to make sure it fully seats on there. Of course, then you put the spring on, and then after that, top hat goes on. Then you have, where is it? Then you have this washer, top hat, so it goes top hat, insulator, washer, and the nut on top. And same as the rear, you gotta hold the shaft itself with a hex key. And these are all 17s. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this together and I'll show you me putting it in. So right now we're gonna change over from the stock A-arm to the UMI A-arm. So first I gotta take these apart. So I got a 15 and a 18. 15 goes on the inside. And just like that. So got that apart. Not using this anymore. Using this. Up. Kind of got to wiggle it to get it in.
Should be kind of stiff, yeah. Not be able to move, but it's stiff. Go back to the other side one more.
Grease points on it. add some grease before. The other one I did was up in the car. It's a little, there you go, you want it to click in, a little harder to get to.
I'll just do 3 pumps.
And do that, put a lock washer on, and okay, so now this piece is all ready to go back in, so we'll get set up over there and get started. Okay, so I ran into a little bit of an issue. So with this new insulator up top, it was a little bit too tall. It wasn't allowing where this A-frame upper control arm sits on, it wasn't allowing to sit flush because it stuck up a little bit too much. So I cut it down. The knife definitely did a bit of a hack job, to be honest, but now it fits much more flush. It's still a little bit off, but it should compress this and sit down nice and flush when we go to tighten it in. So I'm gonna go prop up the camera and we'll get going ahead and put this shock in. So I'm actually gonna put in one of these bolts just to hold it in place down here. There we go. Okay. So that can rest. And there's some. We're gonna bungee this back up. There we go. So with the new top hat, it did give me new bolts, but to be honest, the flange on this isn't super wide compared to the old one. You can see it's a little bit wider of a flange up top. So I just went ahead and reused the old one. I did have to put a screwdriver in that hole and kind of pry it over and then line up that hole for the bolt, get that bolt in, and then that one was all secure. You might have to do the same thing. It was a little bit not lined up great. Just like that. So now you got that all lined up. You can get your castle nut, put that on. That's starting to get good in there. Okay. Now we're gonna look up some torque specs now and we'll start torquing stuff down. Actually, one last thing I want to do before that is get your sway bar mount back in. Okay, so that'll get torqued down too. Now that's back in place. So we'll just start at the, we'll start at the top and go down. So need to look at some torque specs and then start torquing away. Okay, so I'll show you guys up top. Got everything torqued down, everything except for that. I was able to actually get the torque wrench on that. I just had to use a box wrench. Just kind of give her the feel, you know, feel her out good. Torque spec is 37 pounds, which is kind of surprising, but it's what the GM manual says. So next we're gonna go up to the castle nut, and then after that I'm gonna tighten this ball joint down. These are 11s on either side. That I believe is a 17. Torque spec for that is 38 pounds. So go ahead and get it torqued down and put the cotter pin in. There we go. Then you take the cotter pin, slide it on through. Pull it on down some. Everything up top is tightened down. Next we have your sway bar and these two strut mounts right here. These are gonna be 48 pounds, and this is missed entirely. This is gonna be it's 20 pounds. So this really, you can kind of do it by eyeballing how much your bushings are gonna squish out, but I'm gonna try and torque it to 20 pounds. All right, guys. So the front suspension is fully done. Sway bar back in, both sides are torqued down, everything's torqued down. I'm gonna give you a view of both sides. So here's the driver's side, excuse me. Drag all that shit, fuck it. Alright, and then this is the passenger side. This is the one that we had to wait for that top hat for. And as you can see, it's all done. All right, guys, so we got the rear all nice and lowered here on them Bilsteins and the UMI springs. It's supposed to drop 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch is what I read online once it settles. Need to do a little driving to probably get it to settle better. But as of now, I mean, that looks fucking amazing to me. That looks really good. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. If you give it a like and shit, that'd be cool.